Buddy, today we're going to talk about some pretty basic Spanish style guitar, some rumba style rhythm, and I'm basically going to give you a handful of chords and a handful of melodic ideas and a handful, I suppose, of ideas of paths that you can take with these. And then I'm going to send you off to do your own practice and develop your own sound. So we're not here to copy, we're not here to learn by rote. I'm here to just give you a nudge and some ideas, and then you can go and create your own thing. So E minor chord, or I'll play for a sec and then we'll get you playing. E minor, G7, C, G7. It's not going to be a super structured lesson today. Like I said, I'm going to give you ideas, and some will match with you, some won't, and that's fine. So the chords that I just played were E minor, D7, C7, D7, E minor, D7, C7, B7. As always, the tabs for today's lesson will be on my Patreon page. And I do have a membership tier on my Patreon called Lead Guitar, where you can actually send me a video of yourself playing or practicing, and then I'll be able to give feedback. So here on YouTube, it's difficult because everyone's at different standards. But if you want to take things a bit more seriously, there's that tier there where, like I said, you can send me videos and I'll give detailed, specific, personalized feedback, which is hopefully a really nice way to improve quickly. So I'm assuming you know those chords. If you don't, just real quick from the bottom string, 0, 7, 9, 9, 8, 7, that's an E minor. And then the major chord we'll do from the 5th string, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but that's the same 7th shape for the C7 and the B7. Okay, so let's talk about some ideas. So we might do a little bit of melody first, then we'll do some strumming. So if I'm playing an E minor here, a tasty little handful of notes, the 7th fret of the high string, 10th fret of the B, 8, 7, even just those 4. So you'll notice that when I play the chord, I'm kind of lightly strumming each string ever so slightly. I'm not strumming it all at once, although you can, of course. I guess preface everything I say today and in other lessons is just one of countless options. It's really important for you to understand that just in general, like anytime you do anything on your instrument, you could be doing countless other techniques as well. So you'll learn to interchange them quite freely as you get better and better and better. In this case, I'm lightly strumming each string one at a time, so that the highest note of the chord, that 7th fret of the E string, can be my first melodic note, and then I just go 10, 8, 7 on the B string. So that's a nice sound. And you can just make a little melody with those notes. It's probably one of the biggest steps for most guitarists, I think, like when you go from like learning songs and things like that to being able to just play the guitar. And it might seem really intimidating, and people who are just playing the guitar often seem to be playing thousands and thousands of notes, and it's like, how could I ever learn that? But here's a really good example. We're just going to use those 4 notes, but you can play those 4 notes basically as much as you want. And you can play that chord as much as you want. And so all of a sudden, without too much effort or too many notes, 1 chord and 4 melodic notes really, we can really do some nice improvisation. So that's something to think about. Let's go down to the D7 chord now, we're going to do basically the same thing. I'm going to give you 4 notes. The A note, which is the 5th fret of the highest string, which is also the highest note of the chord. And then we go 8, 7, 5. Apparently I can't play the 8th fret. I want to point out just then, I tried twice to play what should be a very, very basic little run. Turns out my pinky, look at that, my pinky's just not getting the job done. So today, guess what I'm going to practice? I'm going to practice my left pinky today in this particular shape. Because it's really underperforming there, and just like any student that I had either face-to-face or online or a friend or a bandmate, if someone was making that really fundamental basic error where that note's just not ringing clearly, the most important thing for your playing is to stop and address that. So hopefully your pinky's doing better than mine today. And it's probably a really good example, let's be honest here. When I teach these lessons on YouTube, I typically simplify them from what I would play myself. So I don't usually play it exactly like this. But I've always said I learn more than the students when I teach, because here I am playing something very fundamental and making basic errors that will affect the sound of the instrument. So that's not good. And that's something you can practice. Always identify when you're playing things badly and be honest. Okay, so C7, same basic shape, 3rd fret, highest note of the chord, and then 6, 5, 3. So let's do our first 3 chords again. I got my pinky wrong again. Terrible. I guess I would usually, if I was really using my own technique, I would jump off the chord and use 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers, but my pinky definitely should be strong enough to always get this right, and so should yours. So there's my lesson for the day. So I'm glad I came on here on YouTube to teach you guys something, because I learned something. Yeah. That's kind of the start of it, and then we can just do basically the same thing, but A minor, D, C7, B7. So again, the chords are E minor, D7, C7, D7, E minor, D7, C7, B7. So it's just the final chord that's different. That's a nice little sound on the B7. Putting our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. That's saying you didn't move the chords around like I did. Some chromaticism because there's this jump in between each chord. So I might leave it at that for today. I think that's given you something to get started with. And then if you want more, come over to Patreon. There's a free tier as well as the paid tiers, and I will get more in depth there on Patreon. Thank you so much.